Within Microsoft, I work for the Legal and Corporate Affairs division, which really tends to protect our IP as one of the major assets. Can you hear me well? Because the mic keeps moving. I'm not used to holding the mic, but I think this is better. Okay, so as you can imagine, a company like Microsoft really, the biggest asset for it is its intellectual property. And I'll throw a question in a second. So that's where I'm coming from, and Microsoft being now a productivity and a platform company is really looking at how to enable every one of us, everyone as in the people, in terms of doing things more productively, more efficiently, and of course, not to forget Mr. Narendra Modi's Digital India campaign. And as you may have read in the news that Microsoft is really on board that and working with the government. So what's IP, intellectual property? How many in the room have heard about intellectual property? Okay, one. Would you like to hazard an explanation? Something very sort of simple, you don't have to get into a definitional mode.
It's something one has created oneself through his say research work or through experiments. So it's a kind of like we have physical products. It's not a physical thing. It's mostly the concepts or the knowledge behind any invention or maybe something.
Or research.
So
yeah.
That's
quite sort of, that's what most people understand intellectual property to be, and it's very good that you pointed out it's not about a physical property, so it's not about the car, the house, or the building that we are in. It's about something that you may have researched. You're doing all sorts of research in your management programs, are you? All of you? You read a lot of researches as well, research papers. Do you think they're all intellectual property? No? Okay. So my next suggestion to whoever runs programs for the students is to invite me back for an intellectual property program, okay? I'm not going to focus on intellectual property as a subject, although that's my core expertise, because the topic of today is really about changes across the globe. And I really want to talk more about technology today. But what I really wanted to emphasize by throwing in the word intellectual property is that every one of us is creating in some way or the other. And when we use the word intellectual property, we're really talking about how our intellect, our mind, is churning out newer things and how they can, in the legal paradigm, be protected. So we'll move on from there, but really it would be an important thing for all managers. And as I think it was Nuruddin who talked about it in the morning, where we said brand identity. You have to think about, as managers or CEOs, you have to think about your individual identity, you have to think about your corporate identity, and all this really falls within the gamut of intellectual property as an asset for a company and as an individual as well. So really, I would sort of urge you to start thinking about what's the importance of intellectual property for managers, for companies, and how it can play a greater role. I think Professor Ramani Swarna saw my presentation in Ahmedabad where I was talking to management students, and this was an IP summit, so the focus was IP, where I was talking about how IP and innovation are interrelated and how they can lead to the economic growth of the country. So that's a separate topic, we'll come to it some other time. Moving on. So as a company, as I said, it's our mission to help people and businesses throughout the world realizing their full potential. So very, very broad vision. But really, if I go back to the year 1970s, when Bill Gates started off Microsoft as a company in a garage with 3 computers, his vision was there should be a PC in every household. And of course, he was thinking about in USA at that point, right? He can't be thinking about the whole of the world. But really, his vision has really broadened to the whole of the world in the sense. And I'm proud as an employee and also as a Microsoft product user, right from the day I was introduced to computers, that really the fact that the software became more and more innovative, whether it was Microsoft and many other softwares, for example, Adobe's PDF writer and many more, it is about how to enable people to do more and more within the lesser time, the computing technology, that's how it's progressing.